The holographic display in Dr. Elena Reyes' lab bathed the room in an ethereal blue glow as she replayed the alien transmission for the 5th time. Her fingers trembled slightly, not from fear, but from the weight of the moment. Humanity had theorized about first contact for centuries, but no one had prepared for a distress call. "Computer, isolate frequency pattern Delta 9 again," she commanded, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The alien mathematics scrolled across her screen, revealing symmetries that defied conventional understanding. Outside her viewport, Earth hung like a fragile marble against the stark lunar landscape. The observatory at Lunar Base Armstrong had been established to look outward, to find new worlds, not to become the unexpected gateway for a dying civilization. Colonel Marcus Way appeared at her laboratory door, his face a mask of military stoicism. "The Security Council is assembled. They're waiting for your assessment, Doctor." Elena nodded, gathering her data tablets. "They're refugees, Colonel. I'm certain of it. Refugees or advanced scouts for an invasion," Way countered, falling into step beside her as they navigated the sterile corridors. "The distinction matters." The central conference room fell silent as Elena entered. 12 faces stared back at her through holographic projections, the emergency response team assembled from Earth's unified government. Director Samantha Okoa, head of extraterrestrial affairs, spoke first. "Dr. Rice, you've violated communication protocols by responding to an unvetted transmission. Explain yourself." Elena activated her presentation, and the alien message expanded around them. Mathematical proofs interwoven with stellar coordinates and haunting images of crystalline beings dissolving under assault from shadowy predators. The Nolarians are a luminous species, evolved from what we might consider pure energy given physical form, Elena explained, highlighting sections of the transmission. Their civilization spanned multiple star systems before this aggressor species began hunting them to extinction. Admiral Hassan interrupted, his hologram flickering with interference from his submarine headquarters. "And you believe this? Predator species will follow them here. I believe if we turn them away, we condemn an entire sentient species to death," Elena responded, her voice rising with emotion before she controlled it. "Their ship contains the last 10,000 Nolarians in existence. Their knowledge, their art, their entire evolutionary history, all of it will disappear. The risks," began the defense minister, "are substantial," Elena finished for him. "But so is the potential. The Nolarians' understanding of quantum mechanics alone could advance our civilization by centuries." The room erupted into argument, security concerns battling humanitarian impulses across political and military divides. Elena stood silent, watching the debate unfold, until a soft chime from her tablet drew her attention. A new transmission, this one accompanied by visual feed. The face that appeared was vaguely humanoid, but composed of swirling lights beneath translucent skin. Its eyes, if they could be called that, pulsed with a gentle rhythm that somehow conveyed both intelligence and profound sadness. "I am Elder Valix of the Nolarian Exodus Council," the being spoke, its voice like wind through crystal. "We thank you for your courage, Dr. Elena Reyes. Many civilizations have heard our call. You are the first to answer." Elena looked up at the stunned faces of Earth's leadership, then back to the alien being. "We haven't decided yet." "You have shown compassion where others showed fear," Valix continued. "Our sensors detect your weapon systems activating. We understand. We will change course if you command it." The tactical officer confirmed in a whisper, "Automated defense grid is tracking their approach, awaiting orders to engage." Elena made her decision. Stepping forward, she addressed not the alien but her own people. "Throughout human history, we've wondered if we're alone in the universe. Now we know we're not. The question becomes, who are we in the face of that knowledge? Are we the kind who would watch another species die when we could have helped?" Director Okoa's expression softened almost imperceptibly. "Your point is noted, Doctor, but this isn't your decision to make." "With respect, Director," Elena replied, straightening her shoulders. It became my decision the moment I answered their call. I vouched for humanity's character. I'd like to believe I wasn't wrong about us. A tense silence filled the chamber before Admiral Hassan broke it with unexpected support. Defense can be prepared while diplomacy proceeds. I propose we allow their ship to approach Mars orbit under escort. First contact should be conducted at a safe distance from Earth. Slowly, reluctantly, heads began to nod in agreement. As the leadership broke into working groups to handle the unprecedented situation, Elena returned her attention to Elder Valix, whose luminous form seemed to brighten with the first glimmer of hope. Your journey is almost over, she told him softly. Humanity welcomes the Nolarians. Captain Michael Chen stood motionless on the observation deck of the U.S. Defender as the Nolarian vessel shimmered into Mars orbit. The massive crystalline structure defied conventional engineering principles. No visible propulsion systems, no external sensors, just a geometric lattice that seemed to phase between solid matter and pure energy. Magnificent, breathed Lieutenant Kea Rodriguez, the ship's xenobiologist. It's almost organic in design. Chen nodded, his experienced eyes noting the damage patterns across the alien vessel's hull. Those aren't aesthetic choices, he said quietly. Those are battle scars. The Defender maintained a respectful distance, leading a formation of 5 Earth vessels that surrounded the Nolarian ship in what military command insisted was a protective escort, but everyone recognized as a containment strategy. The secure channel crackled with incoming transmission from Lunar Base. Captain Chen, this is Director Oko. You are authorized to proceed with direct contact protocol. Dr. Rice will join the first boarding party as primary communicator. Chen acknowledged the order while watching the shuttle carrying Elena Rice approach his vessel. Within the hour, they would make history, the first humans to set foot on an alien ship. The boarding party assembled in the airlock. 6 people representing humanity's best attempt at balanced first contact. Dr. Rice, Captain Chen, Lieutenant Rodriguez, a cultural anthropologist, a medical officer, and a security specialist with explicit orders to observe but not display weapons. Remember, Chen briefed them one final time. We represent all of humanity in this moment. These beings have traveled unimaginable distances seeking sanctuary. Let's show them they made the right choice. The shuttle journey to the Nolarian vessel passed in tense silence. As they approached, the crystalline surface rippled and formed a seamless docking port that adapted perfectly to their shuttle's dimensions. They're scanning and reconfiguring their structure in real time, Rodriguez whispered, her instruments capturing data streams that would keep Earth's scientists busy for decades. The airlock cycled, and a soft luminescence guided them through a translucent corridor that seemed to breathe with gentle pulses of light. The atmosphere was breathable, but carried an electric charge that made the hair on their arms stand up. They emerged into a vast chamber where gravity seemed lighter and sound traveled with melodic undertones. Waiting for them were 3 Nolarians hovering several inches above the floor, their bodies composed of swirling light patterns within transparent, roughly humanoid forms. Elder Valix floated forward, distinguishable by the complex patterns flowing beneath his surface. Dr. Elena Reyes, he greeted, his voice resonating directly in their minds rather than through air vibration. Captain Michael Chen, we welcome humanity's representatives to the last vessel of our exodus. Elena stepped forward. We come in peace and friendship. Elder Valix. Peace, Valix repeated, his form flickering momentarily. We have not known this word's meaning for generations. Since the Kurthak began their hunt, we have known only flight. The central space of the chamber transformed around them, projecting 3-dimensional images of worlds with architecture that defied gravity. Beautiful spires of crystal and light populated by billions of luminous beings. Then came darkness, shadow vessels tearing through their cities, consuming light and life. We were once trillions spread across 17 systems, Valix continued, his mental voice heavy with memory. The Kurthak evolved specifically to feed on our energy signatures. They do not merely kill, they absorb. Each Kurthak contains the stolen consciousness of hundreds of our kind, trapped and used to power their organic technology. Chen felt a chill despite the comfortable temperature. How many ships are pursuing you? Their main fleet contains 37 vessels. Another Nolarian answered, her form smaller and brighter than Valak's, each capable of planetary destruction. We estimate their arrival within 6 of your months. The security officer tensed visibly, and Chen shot him a warning glance. You understand now the burden we bring to your doorstep, Valak said, his form dimming slightly. Many civilizations offered initial welcome, only to withdraw it upon learning of the Kurthak's capabilities. We would not blame humanity for making the same choice. Chen surprised even himself by stepping forward. Elder Valak, humanity has faced extinction-level threats throughout our history. We're still here because we've learned to stand and fight rather than run. He glanced at his team before continuing. I can't speak for all of Earth, but I believe we were meant to find each other. Perhaps what your people lack in physical strength, we can provide. And what we lack in technological advancement, you might teach us. For the first time, the Nolarians' light patterns synchronized, creating a cascading wave that traveled through all 3 beings, their equivalent of emotional response. In all our centuries of flight, Valak said, his mental voice stronger, no species has offered alliance. Only temporary sanctuary at best. Captain Chen of Earth, you speak of shared destiny when you have everything to lose. Or everything to gain, Elena interjected. Humanity has always evolved through challenge, Elder Valak. Perhaps this is simply our next evolution. The Antarctic sanctuary gleamed under the midnight sun, its transparent domes revealing the bustling activity within. 3 months had passed since the Nolarians began sharing their home among humans, and a collaborative research center had quickly become Earth's most productive scientific hub. Dr. Elena Reyes adjusted her thermal coat as she crossed the central plaza where humans and Nolarians mingled freely. Scientists from every nation worked alongside the luminous aliens, their excited conversations creating a constant background hum beneath the aurora-lit sky. The quantum entanglement principles you've shared have already improved our communication systems tenfold, Professor Cheng was saying to Ilara, a young Nolarian scholar whose light patterns shimmered with enthusiasm. Elena smiled as she approached. Don't overwhelm our guest, Professor. The Nolarians still need to adapt to our rather primitive methods of information exchange. Ilara's form brightened in what Elena had come to recognize as amusement. Your methods are not primitive, Dr. Rice, merely different. We evolved from energy. You evolved from matter. The approaches naturally diverge. The Nolarian hovered closer, her luminescence casting gentle shadows across the ice structure walls. Today, I wish to show you something we have never shared with any other species. Ilara led Elena and Professor Cheng to a restricted section of the sanctuary where Elder Valak and several other Nolarian elders waited in a circular formation. Between them floated a crystal unlike any Elena had seen before, multifaceted and shifting in dimension, seemingly larger on the inside than its external boundaries suggested. This is our archive, Valak announced, his mental voice resonating with reverence. The complete history and knowledge of our civilization, preserved across 11 dimensions of data storage, our final refuge should our physical forms perish. Elena's scientific mind raced with implications. You're saying this contains the entirety of Nolarian knowledge. Your history, science, art, culture, everything. And more, Ilara added. It contains organic memory patterns of our ancestors going back 30,000 years. Not just what they knew, but who they were. Professor Cheng stepped forward cautiously. May I ask why you're showing us this now? Elder Valak's light patterns shifted to deeper blues. Because we must trust someone with our legacy. The Kurthak hunt us for this knowledge, as much as for our energy signatures. Should we fall, the archive must survive. On the other side of the sanctuary, a very different exchange took place. Captain Chen watched as Nolarian engineers demonstrated energy manipulation techniques to Earth's military technicians. The defensive shields they were developing together would make Earth's fleet virtually impenetrable to conventional weapons. The integration of your photonic technology with our matter-based systems is proceeding faster than expected, Admiral Okafor noted, reviewing the latest test results on her tablet. Necessity accelerates innovation, Chen replied, thinking of the countdown timer constantly running in his mind. 5 months until the estimated arrival of the Kurthak scouts. A young Nolarian engineer named Terex approached, his form more compact and intensely bright compared to the elders. Captain, we've completed the modifications to your flagship's power systems. The Defender now carries enough energy to maintain shields at full capacity for 72 hours of continuous assault. Chen nodded in appreciation. That's 3 times our previous capacity. Excellent work. There is something else, Terex added, his mental voice carrying a hint of hesitation that translated as flickering light patterns. I've been studying your species' historical battle tactics, particularly your concept of guerrilla warfare. It contradicts our entire evolutionary approach to conflict. How so? Chen asked, genuinely curious. When threatened, Nolarians instinctively withdraw, shield, and escape. Your species sometimes chooses to attack when at a disadvantage, to strike from hiding, to sacrifice tactical position for strategic surprise. Terex's lights pulsed rapidly. It is utterly foreign to Kurthak strategy as well. They are pursuit predators, direct and relentless. They would never expect prey to turn and ambush them. Admiral Okafor exchanged a meaningful look with Chen. Are you suggesting we could use human unpredictability as a weapon? I am suggesting, Terex replied, his form brightening with excitement, that the combination of Nolarian technology with human tactical thinking creates something the cosmos has never seen before. Neither of our species alone could defeat the Kurthak. Together, we might stand a chance. That evening, as the Antarctic sky blazed with unusually vibrant auroras, enhanced by the emotional emanations of the Nolarian population, humans and aliens gathered for the first of what would become regular cultural ceremonies. Children stared in wonder as Nolarians taught them to temporarily infuse paper lanterns with bioluminescent patterns that danced to the rhythm of human music. Alina found Chen watching from a distance, his expression thoughtful. We're making history here, she said quietly. The first true integration of species. Let's hope we live long enough to record that history, Chen replied, his eyes turning skyward where the first defensive satellites now orbited, charged with Nolarian energy and human determination. The celebration in the Antarctic sanctuary transformed in an instant. Alarms blared through the crystalline domes, their urgent wail cutting through music and conversation. Captain Chen's communicator vibrated against his wrist simultaneously with Elder Valix's luminescence shifting to alarming crimson. Deep space sensors have detected anomalies at the heliopause, announced Admiral Okafor's voice through the emergency channel. Pattern matches Nolarian descriptions of Kurthak scout vessels. 3 signatures confirmed, approaching in dispersed formation. The gathered humans fell silent while the Nolarians' collective light dimmed in unified dread. Years of flight had conditioned them to expect this moment, but the humans were experiencing the reality of alien invasion for the first time. How long? Chen demanded, already moving toward the command center with Alina and several Nolarian advisors following close behind. 48 hours until they reach Jupiter's orbit, assuming current velocity holds, came the tense reply. Inside the sanctuary's war room, holographic projections displayed the solar system with 3 red markers moving inward at frightening speed. The Nolarians hovered near the display, their light patterns conveying agitation. This is their standard hunting protocol, explained Ilara, her form flickering with anxiety. Scout vessels identify prey concentrations and energy signatures before the main fleet arrives. Elder Valix's form seemed to age before their eyes, his luminescence dimming to a pale blue. We should prepare the evacuation protocols. Our presence endangers your entire world. Chen studied the tactical display, his mind racing through combat scenarios he'd been developing since the Nolarians' arrival. "No," he stated firmly. "Running is exactly what they expect. It's what every prey species does." He turned to face the gathered leaders. "What if we don't behave like prey?" "Explain," demanded Admiral Okafor through the video link from Orbital Command. Chen gestured to the tactical display. "The scouts are expecting to find a panicked civilization preparing for evacuation or surrender. That's what the Nolarians have always done, and what any rational species would do when faced with such overwhelming force." A tight smile formed on his face, but humans have rarely been accused of being entirely rational. He expanded the display to show the outer solar system. "Instead of running, we hunt the hunters. We position our own ships here, and here, powered down and hidden against the background radiation of the gas giants." His fingers traced the plan across the display. "We let them come, thinking they're undetected, and when they begin their scanning patterns, we strike from ambush," finished Admiral Okafor, her expression shifting from skepticism to consideration, a reverse pursuit strategy. The Nolarians trembled visibly, their light patterns chaotic with conflicting emotions. "You propose engaging Kurthak vessels directly?" Terex asked, his mental voice projecting disbelief. "In our entire history, no species has willingly sought combat with them." "That's precisely why it might work," Elena interjected, moving to stand beside Chen. "The Kurthak have evolved to hunt fleeing prey. They've never encountered a species that turns to fight on its own terms." The plan developed rapidly. 6 hours later, the U.S. Defender led a small fleet of Earth's most advanced vessels toward the outer system, each retrofitted with Nolarian technology and accompanied by volunteer Nolarian energy specialists who would help mask their presence from Kurthak sensors. On the bridge of the Defender, Chen watched his crew prepare for humanity's first interstellar combat. Lieutenant Rodriguez calibrated the new sensor array while Communications Officer Park established secure quantum links with the other vessels in the strike group. "Captain," Park called out, "incoming transmission from Nolarian Elder Valix." The Elder's luminous form appeared on the main view screen, his light patterns now steadied with resolution. "Captain Chen, the Council has reviewed your strategy. While many elders remain skeptical, we have reached consensus. The Nolarian people will no longer flee destiny." "I'm glad to hear it, Elder," Chen replied, strapping himself into the command chair as the Defender accelerated. "But this isn't about accepting fate, it's about changing it. You should know," Valix continued, "that we have begun emergency upload protocols for the archive. Should this gambit fail, at least our knowledge and history might survive within your systems." Chen nodded solemnly, understanding the weight of trust this represented. "We won't fail, Elder. Humanity didn't evolve on a predator-rich death world, only to surrender at our first cosmic challenge." As the Earth vessels vanished into stealth configurations among Jupiter's moons and Saturn's rings, the waiting game began. Nolarian energy specialists worked alongside human technicians, creating perfect electromagnetic camouflage. For 26 hours, they drifted in silent anticipation. The alert came as a whispered transmission from forward sensors. Kurthak scout vessels had crossed Neptune's orbit and were proceeding inward, following the energy trail left by the Nolarian refugee ship months earlier. "All vessels, maintain stealth protocols," Chen ordered, his voice steady despite the tension evident in his clenched jaw. "Let them pass your positions. Strike only on my command." On the view screen, the alien ships resembled enormous manta rays fashioned from obsidian and bone, their surfaces absorbing rather than reflecting light. They moved with predatory grace, unaware of the human vessels tracking their every movement. "They're scanning for Nolarian energy signatures," reported Rodriguez, monitoring the alien transmissions. "They haven't detected our ambush positions." Chen waited until the lead Kurthak scout passed directly between two of Earth's hidden vessels. "Now," he commanded, "all ships, execute Thunderbolt Protocol." The Kurthak arrival eclipsed all previous human conceptions of existential threat. 30 massive vessels materialized in near-Earth orbit without warning, their black hulls absorbing light like cosmic wounds against the blue planet. Each ship unfolded into geometric configurations that defied conventional physics, their organic components pulsing with stolen Nolarian energy. Admiral Sandra Okafor stood rigid on the bridge of humanity's hope, Earth's newest flagship. The combined human-Nolarian fleet appeared hopelessly outmatched by the Armada before them. "Status report," she demanded, her calm voice belying the gravity of the moment. "Kurthak vessels have established a hemispherical formation above the northern hemisphere," replied Commander Singh, his fingers dancing across tactical displays. "They're deploying smaller craft, hundreds of them." The tactical screen showed the smaller Kurthak vessels forming into attack squadrons. Earth's orbital defense platforms were already engaging, bright flashes of energy weapons illuminating near space. Elder Velixt hovered beside Admiral Okafor, his luminescence dimmed to conserve energy for the coming battle. This is their standard conquest formation. They will target population centers to harvest maximum energy signatures. Okafor's eyes narrowed. "Then we change the game." She opened a channel to all Earth vessels. "All ships, initiate Operation Firefly." "I repeat, initiate Operation Firefly." Across the fleet, captains acknowledged the order with grim determination. Standard military doctrine would have concentrated Earth's defenses into a unified blockade. Operation Firefly was the opposite, an immediate dispersal into autonomous strike teams with minimal central coordination. "The Kurthak rely on hive mind tactics," Okafor explained to Valix. "Their strategies assume predictable responses from their prey, so we give them chaos instead." Earth's fleet shattered into dozens of independent battle groups, each following their own attack vectors. Some performed high-risk atmospheric dives, using Earth's gravity to slingshot at velocities that strained structural integrity. Others executed micro-jumps using Nolarian quantum technology, appearing behind Kurthak vessels for precision strikes before vanishing again. On the medical frigate Mercy, Dr. Elena Reyes monitored the Nolarian energy signatures from volunteers embedded with each human strike team. "The Kurthak are adapting," she reported over the secure channel. "They're shifting formation to counter our dispersion tactics." Captain Chen's voice crackled through the communication system from the lead atmospheric assault group. "That's exactly what we want. They're thinking reactively, not strategically." Beneath them, Earth's cities had gone dark, another element of humanity's unconventional defense. Instead of powering defensive shields that the Kurthak could target, Earth's population centers had initiated complete energy blackouts, disguising their locations from the energy-sensing predators. The first Kurthak landing parties breached atmosphere over what had been Beijing, finding only darkness below. Confusion rippled through their hive mind, a momentary hesitation that human ground forces exploited with devastating effect. Ambush teams armed with Nolarian-enhanced weapons emerged from hiding, striking with coordinated precision. Aboard the Kurthak command vessel, the Hive Queen absorbed data from her dying drones with growing frustration. This prey behaved wrong, fighting when it should flee, hiding when it should defend, attacking from impossible angles with unpredictable patterns. In orbit, Admiral Okafor received the first casualty reports with stoic resolve. 3 human destroyers lost, a defense platform obliterated, thousands of personnel presumed dead. The price was staggering, but the Kurthak were taking losses too, unprecedented in their long history of conquest. "They're realigning their formation," reported Commander Singh, highlighting tactical displays, consolidating their forces over the Pacific. Okafor nodded grimly. "They're learning. Phase 2, all vessels." The human fleet's chaotic dispersion suddenly reversed. Ships converged on seemingly random vectors that made no tactical sense, until the pattern became clear. They were herding the Kurthak fleet into position above the Mariana Trench. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility unknown even to most of Earth's military leadership, scientists activated the planet's most desperate defensive measure, Geothermal energy harvested from the planet's core surged upward through superconducting channels, culminating in a directed electromagnetic pulse of unprecedented magnitude. The ocean surface bulged upward moments before a blinding column of energy erupted skyward, engulfing 3 Kurthak capital ships in its path. Their organic hulls, evolved to absorb energy gradually, could not process the sudden overload. The vessels convulsed, their sleek forms contorting as internal systems failed catastrophically. On the bridge of humanity's hope, a cheer erupted as the enemy ships began to disintegrate. Admiral Okafor allowed herself a brief smile before returning to tactical displays. Redirect all remaining forces to quadrants 7 and 9. The Kurthak will respond with everything they have now. Elder Valix's form brightened with cautious hope. In 10,000 years of flight, we never witnessed Kurthak vessels destroyed in such numbers. Your species' creativity in warfare is both terrifying and inspiring. Okafor met the Elder's gaze steadily. Necessity breeds innovation, Elder. Humanity has spent millennia fighting ourselves. It seems we've been practicing for this moment all along. As if in response to her words, the remaining Kurthak vessels began emitting a resonance frequency that caused Valix and every Nolarian aboard the human fleet to flicker in obvious pain. They're weaponizing our own energy signature against us, Valix explained, his mental voice strained. This is their final adaptation protocol. If we cannot flee, they will make us a liability to our allies. Dr. Elena Rice worked frantically in the reinforced laboratory aboard the medical frigate Mercy, surrounded by holographic displays of Kurthak communication patterns. Beside her, Ilara struggled to maintain her luminous form as the enemy's weaponized frequency tore through every Nolarian consciousness across the fleet. Their broadcast is following a recursive pattern, Elena observed, tracing energy spikes across the data. It's not random. It's a calculated assault on specific neural pathways. Ilara's light flickered dangerously. It targets the quantum entanglement that forms our collective consciousness. The same evolutionary gift that allowed us to preserve our knowledge is now our greatest vulnerability. Through the viewport, Earth's defense continued, human ships fighting with desperate courage, while their Nolarian allies suffered in silent agony. 3 more Kurthak vessels had fallen to concentrated attacks, but the alien fleet still maintained superior numbers and position. If we could disrupt their broadcast, Elena began, her mind racing through possibilities. Impossible, Ilara responded, her mental voice weakening. The frequency emanates from multiple vessels simultaneously. Even destroying several ships would not stop it. Elena's eyes narrowed as she studied the central display. We're thinking like victims, trying to stop their attack. What if we use it instead? She opened a secure channel to the command deck where Captain Chen had just arrived from his damaged vessel. Captain, I need direct access to the Nolarian archive. Chen's face showed surprise through the static of the damaged communication system. The archive is locked in Antarctic Sanctuary under highest security protocols. Not anymore, came Elder Valix's strained voice as he materialized beside Chen on the bridge. I have authorized emergency quantum transfer to the Mercy's secure systems. The archive must be preserved if we are to fall. Within minutes, the laboratory systems surged with unprecedented data flows as the entire history and consciousness of the Nolarian civilization transferred into the ship's quantum processors. Elena worked with feverish intensity, isolating specific energy patterns while Ilara guided her through the complex structures. The Kurthak communication relies on quantum entanglement similar to your own, Elena explained to the bridge officers. They're broadcasting on frequencies that disrupt Nolarian consciousness, but every broadcast channel can be hijacked. You're suggesting we use their own attack frequency as a delivery system? Admiral Okafor asked, her tactical mind immediately grasping the implications. Exactly, Elena confirmed. The Nolarian archive contains consciousness patterns going back thousands of years. If we encode specific patterns into the Kurthak's own broadcast frequency, we could infect their hive mind with individualized consciousness, finished Chen, his expression shifting from exhaustion to renewed hope. The technical challenges were immense. The disruptor required precise calibration that could only be achieved within dangerous proximity to the Kurthak flagship, a massive vessel at the center of their formation that housed the Hive Queen. "We need a direct delivery system," Elena explained to the War Council hastily assembled in the Mercy's conference room. "The disruptor must be physically present within their central communication node." "A suicide mission," Chen stated flatly. Admiral Okafor surveyed the assembled officers. "I need volunteers for—" "My ship is already compromised," Chen interrupted. "The Defender's engines are damaged beyond rapid repair, but we still have maneuvering thrusters and a functional reactor. We can reach their flagship." Protests erupted around the table, but Chen's determination remained unshaken. "The Defender was first to welcome the Nolarians into our system. It seems fitting she should be the one to ensure their survival." Preparations moved with desperate speed. The disruptor, a crystalline device containing encoded patterns from the Nolarian archive, was installed in the Defender's core, connected directly to its reactor. Elena personally supervised the integration, her hand steady despite the stakes. "This will shatter their unified consciousness," she explained to Chen as they completed final checks. "Each Kurthak will experience individuality for the first time, separate from the hive mind that has defined their existence. Psychological warfare at its most fundamental level," Chen observed grimly. "Will it kill them?" "No," Ilara answered, her form steadier now that she worked within the Mercy's shielded laboratory. "But it will force them to exist as we do, as you do, as individuals responsible for their own choices." The skeletal crew of volunteers aboard the Defender took their positions. The ship's remaining systems had been stripped for a single purpose: delivering the disruptor to the heart of the enemy. As the damaged vessel pulled away from the Mercy, Admiral Okafor issued new orders to the fleet: create a corridor for the Defender's approach, whatever the cost. Earth's remaining ships executed a series of coordinated attacks, drawing Kurthak fire, while the Defender accelerated toward the massive flagship. Dozens of human vessels were lost in the operation, their sacrifices buying precious seconds for Chen's approach. "Disruptor status," Chen demanded as the Defender shuddered under enemy fire, its weakened shields collapsing section by section. "Ready for activation," replied the engineering officer, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. Reactor aligned with the crystalline matrix. Through the view screen, the Kurthak flagship loomed impossibly large, a mountain of organic technology pulsing with stolen Nolarian energy. At its core, sensors detected the unique signature of the Hive Queen, the central consciousness that directed the entire invasion. The memorial ceremony overlooked the Antarctic coastline where the gleaming spires of New Nolaria rose from the ice. 3 weeks had passed since the battle that humanity now simply called the Stand, and Earth was still coming to terms with both victory and loss. Dr. Elena Reyes stood with her head bowed as Admiral Okafor read the names of the fallen. The list seemed endless: ship crews, defense personnel, civilians caught in the limited planetary strikes. When she reached U.S. Defender, the crowd fell into a deeper silence, the sacrifice of Chen and his volunteer crew still raw in collective memory. Beside the human mourners hovered the Nolarians, their luminous forms dimmed to solemn blue wavelengths that cast gentle shadows across the ice. For the first time in their recorded history, the energy beings performed their sacred memory ritual for non-Nolarians, adopting Earth's fallen defenders into their ancestral records. Elder Valix approached the central memorial, a simple crystalline obelisk that captured and refracted light in complex patterns. His form touched the structure, transferring energy that caused the crystal to illuminate from within, displaying the names of the honored dead in both human languages and Nolarian light patterns. From this date forward, Valix's mental voice resonated: these souls join our collective memory. Neither human nor Nolarian, but guardians of both legacies. As the ceremony concluded, Elena found herself walking alongside Ilara toward the research facility that had once been their desperate last stand. Now it buzzed with activity of a different kind. Joint teams exploring the possibilities unlocked by their unlikely victory. The Kurthak retreat continues. Ilara informed her, the Nolarians' light patterns showing cautious optimism. Our long-range sensors track them moving beyond Proxima Centauri. Their fleet movements show no coordination, no unified purpose. Individual ships making individual choices, Alina observed. Some flee, some explore, some simply drift. Freedom is a difficult gift for a species that never knew it wanted liberty. They entered the main laboratory where the Nolarian Archive now interface with Earth's quantum computing network. The unprecedented merger of technologies had already revolutionized a dozen scientific fields, from medicine to propulsion theory. Professor Cheng looked up from a complex simulation as they entered. Dr. Rice, perfect timing. We've completed the initial analysis of Captain Chen's neural patterns. Alina's heart skipped a beat. And, fragmented but intact, Cheng reported, bringing up a holographic display of brain activity patterns. The quantum entanglement effect created when the disruptor activated seems to have captured a substantial portion of his consciousness within the matrix. The implications staggered Alina. Are you saying some part of Chen still exists within the system? More than exists, Ilara interjected, her form brightening with excitement. His patterns show integration with the Nolarian consciousness structures we encoded into the disruptor. He's evolving within the system. Across the facility, in a secure medical wing, Chen's physical body lay in an advanced life support pod. The captain had survived the mission against all medical probability, rescued from the Defender moments before its final collision by a daring Nolarian energy transfer technique, never before attempted on a human. His body lived, badly damaged but stable. His mind, however, had remained unresponsive despite no detectable brain injury. Until now. The neural stimulators are registering response patterns, Dr. Navarro reported, her fingers dancing across medical interfaces, synchronizing with the archive input now. On the medical bed, Chen's eyes remained closed, but his brain activity spiked in patterns that precisely matched the quantum fluctuations in the archive. For the first time since the battle, his fingers twitched with purpose. Meanwhile, across Earth, humanity was rebuilding with newfound allies. The United Nations Special Assembly had officially granted the Nolarians asylum and territorial sovereignty in Antarctica and Mars, where the unique environmental conditions suited their energy-based physiology. Integration progressed with remarkable speed. Nolarian knowledge accelerated human technological development, while human creativity inspired Nolarian cultural renaissance. Children in schools across the planet now received education in both scientific traditions, their young minds easily grasping concepts that would have seemed like magic months earlier. In orbit, the construction of Earth's new defense network incorporated innovations that neither species could have developed alone. Quantum entanglement shields protected the planet from potential future threats, while advanced sensor arrays monitored the regions where the scattered Kurthak had flowed. In a secure facility beneath Geneva, a joint scientific team made another world-changing discovery. Dr. Sato nervously presented the findings to a select committee of human and Nolarian leaders. We've confirmed it through 3 independent verification protocols, she explained, displaying molecular models. Human DNA and Nolarian energy patterns show compatibility at quantum levels previously thought impossible. Admiral O'Keefer leaned forward, her expression cautious. Meaning what, exactly? Meaning, Elder Valix answered, his form pulsing with what humans had learned to recognize as profound emotion, that our species' futures may be more intertwined than either of us imagined. The potential exists for a true merger of our evolutionary paths. That evening, as Alina sat beside Chen's medical pod reviewing the latest data on his condition, she noticed a pattern forming on the neural interface, not random brain activity, but a deliberate message being constructed bit by bit through sheer will. 3 words appeared on the screen. They're still coming. The methane skies above the settlement shimmered with vibrant colors as the first generation of hybrid children demonstrated their abilities. Admiral Chen, his rank promotion still strange to his ears, watched from the observatory platform as they manipulated energy fields with the precision of Nolarians and the creative improvisation of humans. 5 years had passed since what historians now call the First HFY War. Chen's recovery had been extraordinary but incomplete. His consciousness existed in 2 states, his physical form augmented with Nolarian crystalline implants, and a quantum echo that persisted within the archive. This dual existence had transformed him into something unprecedented, a living bridge between species. "They're getting better," observed Admiral Okafor, who had traveled from Earth for the anniversary celebration. "The older ones can maintain energy manipulation for nearly an hour now." Chen nodded, his eyes tracking a young girl who hovered several feet above the ground, her body partially translucent as she practiced the transition state. Evolution accelerated by necessity. Their generation will navigate challenges we can barely imagine. The settlement on the Saturn moon had been named Hope Colony, humanity's farthest permanent outpost and the most successful integration of human and Nolarian populations. Its unique methane-rich atmosphere and distance from the sun created ideal conditions for Nolarian energy patterns, while special habitats allowed humans to thrive. The colony served dual purposes: scientific advancement and forward defense. For Chen's warning had proven accurate. Long-range sensors had detected a new HFY fleet assembling at the heliopause, larger than before and showing signs of coordinated movement, despite the individualization effect of the disruptor. "The latest intelligence analysis?" Chen asked, turning from the window to face Okafor. "Concerning," she admitted. "The remaining HFY have begun to form voluntary collectives. Not a hive mind, but something new. They're sharing consciousness by choice rather than biological imperative. Those who couldn't adapt to individuality died out. Those who remained are evolving." "As are we," Chen replied, his hand unconsciously touching the crystalline implant at his temple that facilitated his dual existence. They made their way to the war room beneath the colony's central dome. There, Elder Valix, now bearing the title of ambassador, waited alongside Dr. Elena Reyes and the integrated defense staff. The holographic display showed the solar system with ominous markers representing the approaching HFY forces. "Their estimated arrival time?" Chen asked. 3 months at current velocity," replied Commander Park, who had served on the Defender during the first conflict. "They've developed new propulsion technology, faster than anything they previously demonstrated." "And our preparations?" Okafor inquired. Elena stepped forward, her confidence a stark contrast to the anxious scientist of 5 years prior. "The integrated defense network is fully operational. Every planet and major moon hosts quantum entanglement nodes. No ship can enter the system without immediate detection." More importantly, Valix added, his luminescence bright with pride, "the archive interface now extends throughout the system. Should any location fall, our combined knowledge transfers automatically to secure nodes." Chen studied the tactical display with eyes that saw beyond the visible spectrum, a gift of his partial Nolarian consciousness. "They expect to find the same opponents they faced before. They'll have prepared for our previous tactics, which is why we've developed entirely new ones." Okafor responded with a tight smile. "The first graduation class from the Joint Defense Academy takes command positions next month. Officers trained in both human and Nolarian strategic traditions." The meeting continued with detailed preparations, but Chen found his attention drawn to a small alert at the edge of the display. A quantum fluctuation detected near Pluto's orbit. Something familiar yet changed. Using his unique connection to the archive, he isolated the signal pattern. "It's not just the HFY who are evolving," he announced, interrupting the tactical discussion. "This signal contains fragments of Nolarian consciousness, but restructured through HFY neural pathways." The room fell silent as implications rippled through both human and Nolarian minds. "A hybrid?" Elena asked, stunned. "A voluntary merge of HFY and captured Nolarian consciousness." "A peace envoy," Chen corrected, certainty flowing from his archive connection. a third path emerging from the chaos of individualization. Not all Kurthak wished to continue the hunt. Hours later, as the colony celebrated its founding day beneath the spectacular rings of Saturn, Chen stood with Elena on a private observation deck. The quantum implant at his temple glowed softly in the dim light. "Did you ever imagine this outcome when you first answered their distress call?" he asked her. Elena shook her head, watching the children below, some fully human, some Nularian, some representing the miraculous genetic bridge between species. "I hoped to save them. I never dreamed we would become them, and they would become us. And now we face the next challenge together," Chen said, his gaze turning toward the stars where both threat and opportunity approached. On the command deck of Earth's newest flagship, the Mutual Defense, Ambassador Valix stood beside Admiral Okafor as they reviewed the latest intelligence. The view screen showed the approaching Kurthak fleet, but also highlighted the smaller vessels that had broken formation, potential allies seeking a different future. "Separate and vulnerable, our species faced extinction," Valix observed. "United, we offer something the galaxy has rarely witnessed, evolution by choice rather than necessity." Okafor nodded, sending the command that would deploy the human Nularian fleet to meet the approaching vessels. "Together," she responded, "we are no longer lost."